like to call this meeting of the Village Park Village Board to order at today's September 11th at 7 p.m. Clerk Konecki, please call the roll.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Here.
Trustee Kazone?
Here.
Trustee Case?
Here.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Here.
President Bolfus?
Here. So I'll please stand for the pledge, and after we're done with the pledge, please remain standing for a moment. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I just wanted to start out this meeting tonight. If you want to remain standing, please. This has been a very busy week in our country. There's been a lot of issues, and today is a special day, September 11th, 16 years ago. We all remember what happened there. I just wanted to make a few comments that in our lives, we have a lot of situations and things that go on that we use like signposts and remember dates to help us remember special occasions. And these signposts could be personal events like we have here tonight with Billy Lyons and Jim Sella being sworn in the police department as deputy chief and sergeant. They could also be events like we saw in the last couple of weeks with Hurricane Harvey in Texas, which affected a region of our country. And in this past weekend, we had a Hurricane Irma, which we saw affected the whole state of Florida and beyond. But today is a special day where we remember September 11th, 16 years ago. And I'm sure almost everyone in this room can remember where we were on that morning 16 years ago. As we saw those two planes run into the Twin Towers, and the plane run into the Pentagon, and that plane crashing in the field in Pennsylvania. And it's a good thing that we're here tonight and we remember those dates and never forget the change that made to us as a country and to us as individuals. And I think it's only proper and right that we just take a moment for some personal reflection or prayer in silence. And if we could do that now, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Have a seat. Okay, we'll move down to item number 3 on our agenda. Any public comments on agenda items? Does anyone have any questions on any items on the
President
agenda?
Bolfus?
Yes.
We had no one sign up from the public.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any amendments to the agenda from the board? Seeing none, we'll move on to number 5, the swearing in of William Lyons to the position of Deputy Police Chief and the swearing in of James Savara to the position of Police Sergeant. Police Chief Lai, we'll turn it over to you.
Good evening. It's a very special night for the police department, members of the police department, and members of the village. We have two great gentlemen, members of the police department for many years. They're going to be promoted here tonight, and we're all very excited about that. So first is going to be William Lyons to the position of Deputy Chief. He's been with the department for about 19 years, done an excellent job in those 19 years. And after him will be James Savara to the rank of Sergeant. James has been with the department for about 15 years and also done an incredible job. So it's a great night, and we're very happy to have this take place in front of the village board members of the community tonight. So, thank you.
Great.
William?
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and to faithfully discharge the duties
and to faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Deputy Chief of Police
of the office of Deputy Chief of Police
for the Village of Villa Park.
for the Village of Villa Park.
Repeat after me.
I, James Orr,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and to faithfully discharge the duties
and to faithfully discharge the duties
of Police Sergeant
of Police Sergeant
for the Village of Villa Park.
for the Village of Villa Park.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 7. And congratulations to the two, William and James, for your promotions. So, very good. And we'll move on to number 7, the Community Pride Commission Annual Landscape and Spirit Awards presentation. Carol Davis is here to do that from the commission. So it's up to you. It's all yours, Carol.
You know, all of us have enjoyed the Great Western Trails and the Prairie Path. You know, and part of the reason that they are so enjoyable is due to the young men that are part of, that are in Wolf Den 2, Cub Scout Pack 122. These are the young gentlemen right here with their Cub Master. Every year, these young people, this particular den has come and helped with the Prairie Path cleanup. And they don't just come and help. They bring enthusiasm, they bring spirit, and they bring helpers. They bring their mothers, they bring their cousins, they bring their friends, and they run with the bags, they search, and for them, this is just such a joyful experience, and I just love watching them do this. I cannot find anyone who exemplifies the spirit more than this troop. And you know, I'd like to say one more thing. This is 9/11, and we have just had a horrible experience in our nation with 2 floods. It's people like this, it's spirit like this that brings communities together. And as a unit cooperating, they overcome everything. Now, we're not in a tragedy, okay? This is a delightful experience cleaning it. But I do just want to point out, this is the sort of spirit that's being developed in these young people. And I would like to thank their Cub Master as well as their families for what they are doing. Jean Nicholson, our secretary, is going to help give out the awards. We have one for each child as well as the den master. Oh, come in. I'd like to thank the Pubmaster Greg Black. Thank you. Okay. Khalid Valius. Nicholas Black. Spencer Cayena. Peter Spott. Not here, but also members of the troupe are William Hudson, Alec McLeod, Callie Phillips, and Callie Phillips. As well as Ryan Gooding. Thank you all.
Nice job, guys.
We also have the Landscape Awards for 2017. And these again are people that participate and really serve our community by beautifying it, by working with their hands, and by creating what is really art. I'm going to go through the names. Our newest member, Michelle Petrie, will be giving out the awards. Bruce and Cecilia Beaucree of 1415 South Oakland Avenue have a beautiful yard that they have worked on. It has several tiers of landscaping, one in the front, one in the back, as well as islands all over. So we would like to thank you. I know you put a lot of work into that. Are they here? The Beaucrees?
Right there.
Would you like to come up and take your award? Mark and Diana Fisher of 15 North Michigan own several adjacent lots. They have landscaped them beautifully. They all go together. We are very proud to give them the award. Mark says this should be Diana's award because she does all the work. So, is Diana here? I'm right here.
Yeah.
Oh, and Mark. 203 West Plymouth, Tom and Kim Norwick. This Plymouth actually should have received this award many years ago. They have a beautiful award, a beautiful yard in the front, in the back. It's been on many of our garden walks, so it has been in the public many times. They have maintained it for all these years. It is just, you really have to see it, and I really hope that some of you will be able to go through and look at these yards because they are gorgeous, they are works of art, and they really beautify our city too. So, Tom and Kim Noor of 203. Steve Ostanovic is not here today. We do have an award for him. He has only lived in Villa Park for several years. He said the first thing he did when he moved in was started working on the yard. And he said he has spent all of his free time working on the yard. He was very excited to be considered, well, he was very excited that he would get the award. He thought we were there to honor him. So he was really thrilled to hear it was an award. So that is Stevo Stancevic of 102 North 3rd Street. And lastly, we have Andrew and Olivia Trippy. They're on Washington, 141 West Washington. They landscaped their yard, I think it was several years ago, and slowly have added to it since then. Every year they add just a little bit more. So we would like to thank them.
You know, Carol, it's a great example here tonight. We had young people who give to the community and older couples who, well, you know,
Older than
also,
those kids.
it makes life for the rest of us much more enjoyable.
That is so true.
True. It's really great. Thank you very much for your work.
Thank you.
So you guys are older too. Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Minutes from the board meeting of August 28th. And item B is a bill listing for the week of August 28th and September 4th for a total amount of $809,571.71. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Mr. President, I'll make the motion.
Trustee Kazone, do I have a second? Trustee Case?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Tucker.
Yes.
Trustee Salella.
Yes.
Trustee Aiello.
Yes.
Trustee Kazone.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
President Bolfus.
Yes. Item number 9, second and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, adding collection agency fees to delinquent amounts due to the village. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. After seeking proposals, the village has hired a new collection agency, Municipal Collection Services Incorporated, to track and collect outstanding village debts, primarily police tickets. Collection agencies retain a share of the funds that they successfully collect from debtors. In order to keep the village whole for these debts, we must adopt the ordinance in question that will add the cost of collection to the debts that are sent to collection agencies. For example, let's assume the ticket is $100. Without the ordinance, the collection agency would try to collect the $100 debt. Once collected, the agency keeps 30% or $30, and the village would receive $70. With this ordinance, the debt would be increased to $130. Once collected, the agency would keep $30 per the terms of the agreement, and the village would receive $100. Thank you, Your Honor.
Do I have a motion for the first and final reading? Trustee.
Motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Who was that? Trustee Salella.
Yes. Yeah, I'm looking at him and I'm thinking Dave, but I'm new at this. Any questions or comments from the board? Trustee Wagner.
Thank you, President Bolfus. I'm going to vote yes on this, but I would like to see us make an effort to maybe publicize this, to let people know that if they're going to ignore parking tickets or whatever debts to the village, that there'll be an added kind of penalty if they fail to pay their ticket or whatever.
Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. Trustee Wagner, that's a great comment. I've directed staff to collect the data on which individuals owe to the village of Villa Park, and prior to turning their debts over to the collection agency, they will be given a chance to pay the debt prior to the collection fees being added on. So they'll have one last chance before it's turned over. Thank you.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Kazone.
Yes.
Trustee Tucker.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Aiello.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Salella.
Yes.
President Bolfus.
Item 10, ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, establishing an administrative procedure for assessing and determining claims under the Public Safety Employee Benefit Act. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Public Safety Employee Benefits Act, also known as PSEBA, was enacted in 1997 by the state of Illinois and serves as an important role in protecting the well-being of public safety officers who have suffered extreme injury or death in the line of duty. The intent of the legislation aligns with the goals of all municipalities to do what is right for severely or fatally injured employees. During a review of case law on this topic by the Illinois Municipal League staff, the concept was developed to utilize recent court decisions as an avenue for establishing administrative procedures for assessing PSEBA claims, while simultaneously establishing a definition of catastrophic injury. IML staff developed a non-home rule model ordinance that aligns this forward-thinking concept with existing statutes and case law. Staff recommends the approval of this proposal, which will provide an administrative procedure for assessing placebo claims using a uniform process that not only follows the IML recommendation, but also provides proper administrative direction that will allow staff to better support those affected. Thank you, Your Honor.
Do I have a motion for the ordinance? Trustee Ayello?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Trustee Kazone?
I'll make the second.
Any additional comments you have?
If you'd like, Your Honor.
If you have any additional comments, now's the time.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor and Board and those in the audience at home, we do not have currently a process in place that helps the injured officer, if you will, from the police or fire department move through the system to gain health insurance, is what the PSEBA Act is for. And right now, as they file a claim and move through the pension boards, either for police and fire, for the claim of the catastrophic injury or the death, this is it follows with that process as well. But at the end of the day, it ends up on my desk for a decision. And Your Honor and Board, it's been some time since we've been involved with a PSEBA case, probably about 5 years ago or so. So it doesn't come up that often, thankfully. But this would assist staff in just having a streamlined process where a third party would act, obviously, as the adjudication officer, would be attorney, et cetera, appointed by you, Your Honor, and the Board. Being a third party, not involved in the situation, and it would take it out of staff's hands that would ultimately make the decision, et cetera. And staff would appreciate that, Your Honor. So, thank you.
Any questions or comments from the board? Trustee Wagner?
Thank you, President Bolthus. Just reading the initial memo from IML, it sounds like they're kind of anticipating court challenges to this, or that the potential for court challenges. Does that seem likely, or?
Well, that is likely.
Yeah.
Just as there's normally, our procedure right now, there's court challenges also.
Right.
Anything you want to add, Manager Gainer?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, it appears as reading their memorandum that they do anticipate court challenges. However, this open process, which would be a transparent process, does give the applicant their chance to present their records and be represented and et cetera, rather than it falling on staff to make the decision. And quite honestly, during the last case about 5 years ago, I happened to be involved in the fire police pension, and I went to the meetings of that particular applicant, so I was very familiar with what was transpiring. But if one was not involved in that particular process, it'd be very difficult to make a decision when you had the full PSEBA application before you. So this streamlined process that makes it much more transparent and takes the weight of this off staff and onto the adjudication officer, which would be an attorney trained in labor law rather than myself. So thank you, Your Honor.
And the attorney would more likely than not be an attorney that we do not have on staff or associated with any of the law firms that we have right now. So completely independent. Trustee Wagner.
Yeah. So this does not cover just a catastrophic injury that would end a career. Does this also cover other injuries that might hamper their performances?
Thank you, Your Honor. It's a catastrophic injury where they will not be able to work as a firefighter or a police officer. So it's much more than a twisted ankle, a sprained arm. It's a catastrophic injury.
Okay. And in reading the ordinance, at least my interpretation is that it's not going to cover just future cases, but it also might include something that's in the pipeline or that may have occurred in the past. Is that correct?
Well, we don't have anything in the pipeline right now, so that wouldn't affect anything that's in the works. So
Okay.
there's nothing there.
Okay.
So,
All right. That's all I had. Thank you.
anyone else? Trustee Tucker?
Thank you, President Office. My question is, does the client or the injured party, the one that's going to choose the adjudication officer, or is it something that's part of offering from the village that they'll be available?
I, as the village president, would choose the adjudication officer. He would be a labor, like the manager said, a labor attorney, familiar with this type of a case. And then I would choose him, and the board would approve it.
So they would not get a choice of their own? It
No.
would be something that
They can
we-
have legal representation.
Okay.
So
So they would have, they have the choice of legal representation plus the adjudication officer that we would,
Right. He would be
Okay.
independent, and we would possibly have legal representation too. So then the adjudicator would hear both sides. We each have representation. Anything else?
Yep.
Okay. Anyone else? Trustee Kazone?
Just a quick comment. Village attorney and I had discussed this right before the meeting too, and the village employee who comes before the hearing, if he does not like the decision, he can always appeal that to the circuit court. So this is similar to adjudication that we have at Village Hall for, local tickets or whatever. They always have the option of going on past this hearing. And really, this ordinance just kind of streamlines and gives you a procedure for doing the hearing.
Correct. Anyone else? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Wagner,
Yes?
trustee Salella,
Yes.
trustee Tucker,
yes.
trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Aiello.
Yes.
Trustee Kazone.
Yes.
President Bolkus.
Yes. Item 11, ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing the acquisition of leasehold interest for communication service equipment pursuant to a communications site lease agreement through negotiations or condemnation within the North Ave redevelopment project area. Manager Keenan.
Thank you, Your Honor. Staff has been working diligently in an effort to sell the village-owned property located at 257, even 277 East North Avenue to various developers. There's a small cellular site located on the property owned by American Tower that is causing unnecessary and unreasonable delay in the sale of this property. Staff recommends proceeding with possible condemnation to allow for the sale of this site and the development of the 2.1 acres within the North Avenue Tax Increment Financing District. Proceeds from the sale of this property are needed for ongoing operations of the village. And, I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Do I have a motion for the ordinance? Trustee Wagner?
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, and second?
Second.
Trustee L. Okay, anything you want to add, Manager Keenan?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor and board and folks in the audience at home, staff has been working diligently in excess of 8 months to try to come to an agreement with American Tower on ingress, egress, height of the proposed construction of the new building. Just seems like every time we think we're near the end, something else pops up, multiple delays, and Your Honor, it's to the point where it's unnecessary and unreasonable, and we would like to move forward with this particular piece of legislation this evening. Thank you, Your Honor.
Any questions or comments from the board? Trustee Wagner?
So we're currently the lessor, and American Tower is the lessee currently, correct?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, we have a contract with that particular cell site that brings about $1,300 a month revenue to the village for them to be located there. And part of the background of this particular issue is that when the village purchased this property, the lease came with the purchase of the property. So the village did not develop the site, et cetera. This was a lease that was already ongoing with the previous owner of the property. And when the village bought the property, they assumed the lease, which is not a well-written lease. Thank you, Your Honor.
So if we would, let's say hypothetically, if we would move forward with condemnation, there would be some attempt then, or some action taken to buy out the lease, is that correct?
I believe so. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, the village would need to obtain several appraisals, one for the land and one for the remaining lease. And through negotiations, hopefully, we would come to a resolution. If not, we would move forward condemnation.
Anyone else?
That's all I had, thank you.
Trustee Case?
How long will it take?
Hopefully, this will get
Will
their,
it be faster?
hopefully this will get their attention.
Well, I know that, yeah.
And then they'll move with coming up to agreement with the potential buyer of the property. And so that's the in my opinion, that's the goal here. How much time do we give them? We'll have to decide that as we go down the line.
A week?
So, it's gonna be a little longer than that.
Too long now.
It's been a couple years, if I remember right, so. Anyone else? Trustee Kazone?
Do we have a rough idea on what that buyout would cost if we did condemn it? Just any kind of a ballpark number?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. And as I sit here this evening, that's a very good question. I think there is just a few more years left on the lease, I think 5 or so. So you can do the math on that. But Director Fiola has actually contacted American Tower and let them know that we're undertaking this evening. And if this is approved, as soon as the ordinance is signed, I'll send a signed copy to the American Tower, put them on notice.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Okay, Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
President Bolfus?
Yes. Item 12, ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending the annual budget for the Village of Villa Park for fiscal year commencing on May 1st, 2016, and ending on April 30th, 2017. This will be Amendment 1. Andrew Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. As part of the annual year closeout and auditing procedures, the village routinely reviews the revenues and expenditures of all village funds. On an operating basis, the village ended the year in a surplus. The expenses of some individual funds were higher than the budget, much of which was either beyond our control, previously known, and/or was covered by additional revenue, so we need to amend the budget as part of our regular fiscal year-end closeout activities with Budget Amendment Ordinance Number 1. It is recommended that an ordinance be adopted amending the fiscal year 17 annual operations budget that was approved by the Village Board on April 11, 2016, with ordinance number 3908. Thank you, Your Honor.
Do I have a motion for the ordinance? Trustee Wagner?
I'd like to make that motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Trustee Allo?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Trustee Tucker?
Do we have to do this for auditing purposes? Is that why the amendment has to be put in, just so that the budget all evens out? So we
That's
have to have a
correct.
legal document in there, an amendment saying that we're doing it. That's the reason for it, for the auditing purposes.
That's
Okay,
correct.
thank you.
The auditors just got done recently, and they found these items had to be shifted around, so. Anyone else? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
President Bolfus?
Yes. Clerk Kornecki, do we have anyone from the public want to speak on non-agenda items?
No, we had no one,
Thank you.
no members from the public, thank you.
Do we have a clerk's report?
Just a reminder, the senior community, that SALT meeting is this Wednesday, the 13th, at 11 a.m. at the Community Recreation Building on Wildwood. Lunch will be provided by the Senior Concerns Commission, and there's a very nice program planned. So we hope there's a nice turnout. And that's all. Thank you.
Move on down to trustees' report. We'll start with Trustee Cielo.
No report this evening.
Trustee Kazone.
No report.
Trustee Case.
No report.
Trustee Ayello.
No, sir.
Trustee Tucker.
Okay. Just a reminder that we have a Park and Rec meeting tomorrow at Iowa Center at 7 o'clock. I've also we're going to have a very busy weekend, September 23rd. I kind of wanted to point out to people not to forget about the child safety whole thing going on at our fire department on that date from 10 to 1. I think it's very important, if you do have a child that you put in a safety seat, that you do come by and have it checked out, because there are a lot of safety seats, in case you don't know, that are not up to standards. And they sell them that way thinking they are. So please come by and check them out for your kids' safety. Thank you. I also, that weekend, on the 22nd, the Park Art Center is having a new open house from 6 to 9. They have a new display going up called Local Boys Done Good. So if you're need more information on that, go to their website. It has all the information you'll need on that new display going up, new art display. I think it's important. And last thing going on is on the Shred Day at the Interlake Bank for all the members or small businesses in Villa Park or personal people. Take advantage of it. If you have documents, bank statements, things going on that you need shredded, please take advantage of this that's going on. It's a great thing from 10 to noon. Again, at Inland Bank, right here on 305 West St. Charles Road. Take advantage of it. It's a great thing for all. That's all I have.
So, one thing on that child safety seat test, I found out this week that child safety seats actually have an expiration date on them. And I thought they lasted forever.
Fire Station 81, Town Hall.
1440 South Ardmore.
Yes.
Yeah, so it'd be the one by Willowbrook School, in case you get lost. It's over there.
Thank you. Trustee Wagner.
Thank you, President Bolthus. Just a couple things. I just want to let members of the public know that the Traffic and Safety Commission will be meeting tomorrow, September 12th at 8 p.m. here at Village Hall. Also this week, the committee that's organizing Welcome Home All Veterans will have a meeting for volunteers at the VFW that starts at 7 p.m. And if you're interested in helping out with that event, I would encourage folks to attend. Just to also mention that on the 23rd, the Welcome Home All Veterans event will be held at the VFW from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And it's a great event that helps put veterans in touch with benefits and other resources. And wanted to mention this week, noted in the Park and Rec brochure that it's Fitness Week. So folks can sample various fitness classes, primarily at Iowa Community Center, for free. So, you know, that's a wonderful thing, and I might even take advantage of it. So. I appreciate Trustee mentioning the Park Arts Center. This coming Friday, on September 15th, the Villa Park Junior Women's Club will be holding an event at Park Arts Center. It's called Rocks of Kindness. And I think this is where folks get together and they paint inspirational phrases or on rocks, and there's some sort of public display that will be done for this. So if you're interested, it's from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Park Arts Center at 9 East Park. And that's all I have.
Thank you. And President's report, everything's been covered on my report, and so we'll move on to the manager's report.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, I'd like Director Jaskels to kind of give everyone an update on the St. Charles Road bridge status.
I'll do it this way. As you may have noticed, the temporary lane shifts are now in place. So the purpose of that is to get the wheel loads off the outer edges of the bridge, which is at most at risk. So that was meant to be a temporary measure until the temporary repairs could be undertaken. Those, I've been informed today, are expected to be initiated within the next week and should only take a few days to complete. So within the next 2 weeks, once the temporary beams are in place, we'll be able to remove the temporary lane shift and hopefully keep it that way for the duration until we can complete the full project. We are awaiting approval from IDOT for the updated budget. They call it the PPI. Once we get that, then we can submit the Phase 2 agreement to IDOT for review and approval. Once they do that, then we'll get a funding agreement from them to fund 80% of that. So then we can execute that and the funding agreement and the engineering agreement and move forward with design. So we're kind of in a holding pattern until that's done as far as the project itself, but we do hope to have temporary measures in place within the next week or so.
Good. Thank you. Trustee Kazone.
Direct,
once those temporary repairs are in, is the 15-ton limit still going to be in
Yes,
effect?
the
That's
weight
gonna be-
limit has to stay in
It
place.
stays, okay.
Until the
Thank you.
permanent bridge repairs are done.
Anything else, Manager?
One more item, Your Honor. We haven't mentioned this too much publicly, but there is one more item that's taking place on September 23rd, and that's the village's first annual Brew Fest. And right now, we have, I think, 23 brewers signed up. We have over 66 volunteers, and I think ticket sales are approaching 200. And so, kind of looking forward to that, too, along with all the other events that day. It's going to be a very busy day. Thank you, Your Honor.
Do they need any more volunteers?
Never have enough volunteers, Your Honor.
And maybe Greg can tell us how they get to volunteer. So you're going to get to sit there, you know.
That's right, I like saying. Anyone who wants to volunteer can call the Iowa Community Center at 834-8970. And we are doing a free shuttle service from the metro stations. And there's plenty of parking around the park. Any off-site parking, we're going to include Jefferson and Lufkin pools, and also the fields at Rotary Park and Lions Park. So we'll have plenty of parking, we'll have shuttles to get people to and from the metro station, and we should have enough volunteers.
And this is a ticket-only event?
This is a ticket, you can go on, we have a website, Ville Park Brew Fest, and you can go online and purchase your tickets online. And actually, there's two sets of tickets. There's the gold member ticket, which will get you in early and use of the indoor facilities, and that's $59, I believe. And then there's regular general admission, which is $45. I think today was the early bird for $40, and that'll get you the admission, and everybody gets a free commemorative 16-ounce pint glass, and you get a food ticket along with your membership. There's going to be 3 to 4 food trucks out there. We'll have some music, background music, DJ playing. So it should be a fun event.
And there's no ticket sales at the entrance? They have to be purchased online
They should
at a
purchase them
time?
online, correct.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Anything else, Manager Keener?
With that, I pass, Your Honor.
Okay. Move on to item 18.
President Bolfus?
Yes.
Would you entertain a question?
Well, yes, I guess
Okay.
so.
I didn't want to let this pass. I noticed the brand-new sheltered bike rack. I was really excited to see that at Metra. I think that's a great addition. Just a question about that. Since there has been issues with people intermittently having bikes stolen, will that security camera that's close by give any coverage for that new bike rack?
I believe the answer is yes, but I'll turn it over to Manager Keener.
Actually, that's a very good question, because we're taking a look at mounting a camera very close to the shelter and the bikes. And then, Your Honor and Board, we're also taking a look at constructing a shelter on the south side of the Metra station for the bikes. But we've asked Metra and UP to help us with that for a grant. So they're going to try to put that in next year's budget for a grant for a shelter on the south side of the railroad tracks. Thank
That's
you.
wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, item 18, consider an executive session for the purposes of 5 ILCS 120.2 C1, personal matters, B, C, 5, purchase or lease of property, C, C6, sale and lease of property, D, C11, pending litigation, E, C21, discussion of closed session minutes. Do I have a motion for executive session?
Mr. President, I'll make the motion.
Trustee Kazone is first. Do I have a second? Trustee Case? Okay, thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
No.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
President Bolfus?
Yes. With that, we'll go into executive session, and we will not be back. Our next board meeting is on September 25th at 7 p.m.